first presentation will be by Kamil and Kuba from Tokenguard. So yeah, let's start with some round of applause for them.
Thanks
guys.
everybody. Okay, so maybe before we start, just a quick question. How many of you are developers or very technical people? Okay, yeah, got it. I know it.
That's more than half.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we know how technical we can get. We'll be mostly discussing measuring metrics and growth analytics. So yeah, let's start. So firstly, we should try to understand what has happened in 2022 when the crypto market crashed last year. So before the bear market, the crypto market was mostly driven by inflow of new users and investors that were pouring tons of money into coins and tokens on the market. However, some of these coins and tokens have lost more than 20 or 50 times their value from their all-time high. And some of these tokens, like LF0, only lost 3 to 4 times compared to the rest of the market. And today we're going to try to understand why this happens. And of course, we still think that most of the traffic that's happening on the crypto markets is caused by the speculation and investors. However, we do believe that there is a significant proof that organic growth can be achieved in crypto market as well. So after analyzing a lot of different business models and tokenomics, I think we can distinguish three most important categories of coins. Of course, there are many other different business models, shitcoins that we're not going to discuss in here. So the first category that we can think about coins are meme coins, basically projects that are driven mostly by getting into the consciousness of mass media, that are being driven by random posts of Elon Musk, basically without any specific strategy behind them to actually build utility or build user activity. So what we usually end up with meme coins is high number of wallets with low user activity because you cannot do anything more with them. The second category are niche models. Here we have examples of the two most, one of the most recognizable ones, so Ripple, which is basically a crypto that is designed to be a source of mean of value transferring between banks, similarly as Elixir is being used in Poland. But we also have a very niched out business model by Nodl, which basically allows to monetize mobile apps for their authors by implementing the mining algorithm within the mobile app. So basically when you're opening your phone, you're using an app, the phone actually mines the coin for you, and the author of the app can monetize this app thanks to that. And the third groups we have, and that we believe have the most potential for the growth in the future, are ecosystems. So what's the difference between all the other business models and ecosystems? Basically, ecosystems allow third-party developers, projects, and investors built within them. So in most cases, the most distinctive feature is the possibility to create smart contracts within those ecosystems. In most cases, those smart contracts are the basic ones. Similarly, as in Ethereum, you can create whatever you want. However, there are ecosystems that have a niched out specific smart contracts that are focused on, for example, creating oracles, as in case of Fala Network. So what is the growth strategy for ecosystems then? Basically, you can think of it as a comparison. If you would take a regular Web2 marketing strategy for most of Web2 products, you would think of running an off-chain marketing campaign that would target specific users. And of course, you could potentially create this kind of strategy for ecosystems as well. So you would create an off-chain marketing campaign that would target customers or end users, draw them into the exchange, and make them buy your token or coin. But if you take into consideration the average wallet size of a regular crypto user, which is way below $100, and in most cases is way below $20, then you would understand that this kind of strategy wouldn't work at all, because the cost of conversion in terms of off-chain performers, marketing campaigns is much higher. So what ecosystems are doing to make them grow? Basically, they're focusing on engaging developers and third-party projects to build within these ecosystems. And these projects are then developing dApps that are bringing in new users into the ecosystems, because these dApps, they have their own marketing campaigns. And if these dApps are successful, they are also bringing in new, fresh VC money. So what ecosystems are doing, they are basically focusing on hackathons, which are also happening here, focusing on grant programs. Focusing on grant programs. And do we have it? Yeah, we have it. And some of the ecosystems are spending more than $10 million per year by pouring that money into dApps that are being built within these ecosystems, and also by creating a friendly developer environment. So basically right now in the Polkadot ecosystem, everybody is working really hard and pouring a lot of money into building the Ink or Rust smart contract ecosystem. On the other hand, the strategy for dApps is to build an engaging app that will bring in new users into the ecosystem. So what are the metrics that dApps should be tracking and that Web3 ecosystem want dApps to track? Basically, these are smart contract interactions. The average value of those interactions, as you would call it in Web2 world, this would be a conversion. On the other hand, we're also measuring and tracking the off-chain marketing campaign activities, both for dApps and ecosystems. In case of ecosystems that are targeting developers, we are mostly interested in developer off-chain activity in GitHub, Stack Exchange, or any other means where projects are being built. But also hackathons retention. If you spend more than $200,000 per year on hackathons, you want to measure how effective these are. And of course, average regular on-chain metrics as average smart contracts deployed or smart contract interactions. So the thing is that dApps have a much bigger challenge, because most of the dApps that we know have been built with end users or customers in mind. So most of the dApps didn't create this kind of strategy that we discussed previously. However, there are some outliers. So here we have an example of two DEXs, which are very similar in their operations. However, one of the DEXs has dropped 10 times only, and the second one, SushiSwap, has dropped 30 times in the similar time frame. So, of course, speculation is one thing, but the second thing is the strategy you have behind building this kind of a product. So what most successful dApps are actually doing is they're applying the same strategy as ecosystems. They are engaging developers in order to in order to make these people build within these ecosystems. So they are also organizing hackathons, grant programs, but also incentivizing connecting new protocols into their ecosystem, because that right now for Uniswap is a huge share of the overall turnover that it produces. In case of successful protocols such as Uniswap, there are usually many different stakeholders in the tokenomics. So here we got devs, we got traders, and liquidity providers. And the most important thing, I think, is that Uniswap has a very intelligent strategy in terms of tracking the activity from these stakeholders and incentivizing them to get more engaged into using Uniswap. So traders, of course, are basically end customers or end users for the protocol, so you can try to engage them with regular Web2 marketing activities. So Uniswap is hiring a huge number of marketing people right now. Regular marketing people like performance marketing, specialists, content creators, etc. But they're also focusing on polishing the UX solutions so that their very complex protocol is easy to use, and it's not a simple thing for Web3 product to have a easy to use interface. but they are also extremely focused on making liquidity providers happy. And right now they're working on 4th version of their protocol, but each of the consecutive versions they have released so far improves the experience and the revenues of the liquidity providers. So the first 2 versions had a constant fee. Right now, liquidity providers with the 3rd version of Uniswap, they have multiple fee tiers. So Uniswap is measuring the number of course, average value of liquidity providing transactions, but they are also tracking the engagement of liquidity providers within those specific fee tiers. And basically, the next version of Uniswap, version 4, is going to include an algorithm calculating real-time the fee for adding liquidity into a specific protocol based on the popularity of this protocol, but also the risk included within it. So you can achieve different product plus marketing strategies using protocol updates, but also proxy smart contracts which allow you to update your smart contracts on the run. Yeah, so Jacob, please.
All right, thanks. So, as Kamil indicated, Uniswap kind of upgraded itself from the dApp to ecosystem, and it helped it thrive through the bad times. So, what are the similarities and differences between L1 goals and dApp goals? There are some common goals, but there are some contradictory goals, like L1s want to maintain security, build trust, scale the throughput to attract and accommodate more and more users. And they want to build variety in their ecosystem, while dApps basically, when they are small, they want to test as many scenarios as possible. So the drawback here obviously is that it might not be as secure as it should be. They usually just want to monetize as soon as possible, so just release the token and worry about what to do with this next. And this also undermines trust of the general ecosystem they are deployed on. And also, once you developed your application, you want to deploy it on as many chains as possible, because the job is done and you want to just expose yourself to as many users as possible. While ecosystems just want to build the uniqueness and the variety inside this ecosystem, because that grants the growth. So yeah, there are some common goals, like we want to deliver and preserve unique features. We want to grow active user base. We want to maintain the user base and drive the user engagement. That's common. So why measuring all this stuff is so challenging? The first thing is that there is a number of factors that build the bigger picture, and filtering out the noise is extremely difficult, because we can think about general market conditions, local market conditions, sentiment. We can think about ongoing campaigns. The campaigns usually also have some inertia, because if you execute the campaign targeting end users, you probably will get instant response, while if you target your campaign towards developers, there is a lot of inertia, and you probably will see the results of that in half a year or a year time. There are new app releases, there are hacks which also influence the things that happen on chain. There also might be just random actions on social media shilling some projects. And the fact that the user is not sticky to just one ecosystem, but the users usually like to travel and explore various ecosystems, and we have plenty of blockchains, bridges, and it's just challenging to combine all the data and at the same time filter the noise. So the other thing is that even though the data is public, it is usually somehow fuzzied or hidden. So it's difficult to target a single user, to track the single user, because we can say, okay, so tell me what exchanges are my users using? Well, I don't know, because I don't know what addresses this exchange is using. As if it is using today one address, it can use tomorrow some different address, and we have nothing to rely on. So blockchains are, even though they're public, they're basically private. So we can only rely on segmentation of user behaviors rather than particular users. And last but not least is the fact that there exist so many ecosystems and parallel universes like CEXs and DEXs, where CEXs just trade coins, and actually blockchain could not even exist for them to be happy. It's actually a problem. Yeah, all those cross-chain functionality where users are moving from one chain to the other, it makes it all very difficult. And also the problem that Bitcoin was so successful as a project in its early days that currently users just correlate it in the mind with easy money. So they're not particularly interested in what can you do with the tokens, or what can you do in this ecosystem, how can you grow your identity through Web3 ecosystem. You just want quick money and that's it, and if it doesn't deliver, then you quit. So yeah. So now we have a few charts. At the top we have active users, and at the bottom we have the price. And from the first chart we could see that there is like one-to-one correlation between the price and active user base. So the more price movement, the more active users are there, right? Well, probably yes, but there are many factors that add to it. So by the end of the chart, we can see a huge spike of active users. What was that? It was the release of smart contracts on L1 network. So it attracted a lot of users. And on the right-hand side, we have Astar network, which actually also in the same period of time released the smart contracts feature. And we also can see the spike. However, it is much smaller because it didn't even go over the bull bear market spike. And the reason for this probably is because Astar already had smart contracts implemented, and they only added the second engine, so second virtual machine. So they had EVM, but now they have both EVM and WASM. And for L0 it was like a major step because it was the first smart contract engine that they supported. Right. So we can measure dApps performance through the new user income or user retention. So here we can see a chart from R0 on Astar networks and DEX exchange, and we can see that the new users were coming in waves, but it kind of stopped by now. While the retention is fairly stable, but still with the downtrend, which kind of indicates that this app might not be performing extremely well in future. And it's harsh truth, but well, it's better to know it than just be surprised with the fact that no users are using your app anymore and the price is going down or whatever. So we can measure by the number of users, or we can measure it by the outcome of actions of the users. So we have Uniswap dashboard from Dune Analytics here, where we have the fees paid on a different trading pairs. So we can either measure just the users, or we can measure the actions of the users. In the case of Uniswap, it is the most simple, simply measured by the fees. But we have always to keep in mind that people tend to find correlations everywhere because they love structure. However, probably reducing all imports from Norway won't stop drivers' collisions in a railway train, right? So we just need to be super cautious on what we correlate with what, and remember that filtering the noise is the most important and the most difficult part. Thank you.
Thank you. So, does anybody have any questions? Maybe you would like to comment or any of the slides or dig deeper?
I have a question actually. So, guys, don't you think that sometimes there is like too much focus on the infrastructure, and everyone is building infrastructure, and not enough people are building apps, because we have like ZK Day and then L2 Day, and it's basically all about the infra. And how about the apps? And can we measure somehow and compare the two?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I kind of had similar feelings when I was developing in Web3 ecosystem, because all the ecosystems focus on is building tools for tools for tools for tools, but where are the apps? Where are the use cases? So the problem here is that without those foundations, we won't be able to build fabulous apps. And this is the easiest part, because if we have all the building blocks ready, then we will be able to build apps fairly quickly, and like differentiator between Web 2 and Web 3 will not be a thing by then, because you will be just developing app, and it doesn't matter today if it's in Python or if it's in JavaScript, because there are a lot of frameworks and you just build basically the solution. So once we have the foundation, we will be able to build solutions, and the urge to rush to the solution is big, but today writing contracts is still just too complicated for average developer to feel appealed by the ecosystem. So I think we are still in our infancy when it comes to building.
Just gonna add that debugging smart contracts, and we've been doing a lot of this previously, it's a pain in the ass. Like, really, when you speak with developers, they are super frustrated by writing and testing anything that has anything to do with Web3. So, of course, Ethereum still has the best infrastructure, and the infrastructure is being built on other ecosystems like Polkadot, where we exist, and also similar to Aleph0. However, still, even in Ethereum, it's, as Jacob said, it's in infancy. So there is a long way here.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Any other question? If no, then thank you guys for the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Give a round of applause for Kamil and Kuba.